Hey, y'all. Everybody's favorite bumpkin here. And Angel.
What's going on?
Wave at everybody. Use both hands. Oh, wait a minute. You can't. You ain't supposed to be doing that. Y'all can feel free to bitch at him however you want. Anyway, let's do some shovel shit, okay? Okay, so you may notice there's a lot less shit on the lift, and we got more motorcycle than we got crap. So, yeah, let's start putting it back together. So basically what we're going to be doing tonight, kids, is we're going to get the drivetrain in the frame on this thing. We got wheels and tires, but right now we're just going to stick the rear wheel in there to where we can kind of use that as a balancing act, if you will. Because we got to get the tranny in it, we got to get the motor in it, we got to get the primer in it, but before we can bolt all that stuff in, we got to have everything in there to where we can line it and get it squared up, and also we got to shim the transmission to where we make sure we're not twisting up the ass end of the frame. You 4-speed guys, you know what I'm talking about, the dreaded fifth bolt. Here we go. All right, so,
Wheel first.
wheel first. Here, I've got the axle in my hip pocket. Yeah, axle needs to come in from this side. Well, I guess it ain't gonna matter because we got, you know, it's running true duals, so it's not gonna matter which side the axle nut's on. Just for ha-has, we're gonna put the axle nut over on the right-hand side of the bike, just, because I said so.
Sounds good.
Okay, wheel spacers, get out of here. We don't need you, at least not right now. But I do need a couple of wheel collars to where I can keep from smushing my wheel seals. I knew there was a reason I laid these over here.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Why don't you want to line up?
That's how you know you're working on a bike.
Huh?
That's how you know you're working on a bike.
Right?
5 minutes in and you're covered in axle grease.
Yeah, or worse, antices. It's like mechanical herpes, man. You can't wash that shit off with lava soap and an SOS pad.
Yeah, careful. Don't check your nuts now because they're covered.
Yeah. My center spacer in the wheel is mildly crooked. All right, teeter-totter it up and let's stand it on the nose.
All right.
And hold what you got. Come down a bit. Whoa. Cool. Go down. We're there.
Go.
Hang on. Long-haired dog owners, you know the struggle.
Everywhere.
Well, I mean, it's not like he's a Malamute or something. Or a Husky.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, Skittles, we're not looking at you, girl. All right, so let's do this. Come over here and pull this blankie out. I'm going to lift this up.
Okay.
Grab a hold of that fender strut and help me stabilize this thing because it's going to try to flip-flop on me.
Piece of cake.
Let's jack this up until we're level to where we got a solid point of contact. And I absolutely freaking hate this stupid wrench they give you with these cheap Amazon pancake jacks.
I think mine got thrown away the day I got it.
Well, that's why I keep a spare ratchet at the shop and I just leave a oddball socket on there and it lives on the jack. Until we get the front end on there, it's going to live on the jack and we're going to put some tie-down straps on the ass end of it just to stabilize the back of the frame, because gravity and stuff. Well, one small problem with that. You got a motor in the way where we need to strap this thing down at.
Yeah, I didn't think that far.
Me neither. Don't feel bad.
Cool. Get out of here.
I'm not terribly worried about this because it's getting a new one.
Oh, if you going digital?
No.
That'd be crazy.
No. No,
Yeah,
nothing digital will live on this bike. Except for maybe the ignition. That's about it.
That's a stretch.
I had to think about that for a second. Just got to be careful and not knock the damn motor off the stand. That would be bad. I'm going to have to move my straps up high. I can't go around the swing arm. My strap is a bit long.
Motor's good?
Yeah, motor's fine. Just make sure we don't wiggle and woggle the bike too much.
No, you don't.
Kind of like what I just did right there. Ooh! Okay, now it ain't going to move. And now we can move our motor back. Get it slightly lesser out of the danger zone.
Tech tip. Always be mindful of your straps.
Hang on a sec. Gotta feed my cat. Cargus.
Did you spray my truck again?
Huh? I don't know.
I remember,
What'd you do to piss him off the last time to make him whiz on your truck?
I was just parked there, and then he just came up, sniffed it, and then I saw him turn around, and then he sprayed it. And I was like, come on now.
Your truck has been judged. It's been weighed, it's been measured, it's been found lacking.
Yeah, I can agree with that, actually.
You guys that know, you know, and you're laughing right now.
Transmission?
Yeah.
Well, could we theoretically place the motor before the transmission, or do we have to do the transmission first?
I could, yeah.
Does it just make it easier to do transmission first?
It kind of makes it easier to get the tranny plate in. If you're starting from the bare frame like this, at least in my opinion, it makes it easier, you know, laying the tranny plate down, laying the transmission in it, because the tranny plate bolts to the frame on the frame pads. That part of it's fixed.
Okay.
But where the transmission goes down on the tranny plate is slotted to allow the tranny to shift fore and aft. And, you know, that's on the old 10 primary models, that's where you adjusted your primary chain. You didn't have an adjuster inside the primary. You loosened up the whole damn transmission and scooted it back to the ass end of the bike. It just makes it a little easier getting to, you know, where you can get your hardware and all that, especially having to shim this, because on that fifth mount right there, you've got to shim that out before you just cram a bolt in there, because if you don't, what'll happen is whenever you tighten up this fifth bolt mount on the 4-speed gearboxes where they mount on the right-hand side of the frame, if you don't take the time to shim that out and space that correctly, whenever you tighten the bolt up, if you just haul off and gronk on the damn thing, two things are going to happen. You're going to tweak that frame tab where the fifth mount is, and also you're actually going to twist up the ass end of the frame just a little bit, and it's going to have it in a bind. And if you think a shovel head shakes on its own, wait till you get one that's bound up like that. You just turned the whole ass end of the frame into a big torsion spring. Yeah, that's the top. I had to stop and think about it for a second. See, the front part of the tranny plate, it's threaded, but the back part's not. It's got pass-throughs. So your front bolts, they come up from the bottom, and then your rear bolts come down from the top. And that being said...
Just to make things a little more challenging?
Yeah, what's left without a few challenges? Well, if I had an 18-inch, I'd call that a challenge. But, you know, thank God I'm not blessed to that extent. Not sure that would be a blessing. I've got to find the tranny plate hardware for this thing.
Get in on the dirty details, man.
Well, the thing is, even though we're using, you know, like a hardened high collar lock washer on this tranny plate, yeah, you still need to rub a little bit of liquid hate on there because it's a shovel. It's going to shake like a dog shit in a peach seed, okay? So you need to give it every chance to stay tight that you can give it.
Got to make sure I get your glorious hair in there.
Yeah, it's self-sustaining and it's automatically propagating. We are going to reasonably slather this. I mean, we're not going to just totally, you know, dunk it in thread lock, but you got to make sure you get enough on there to make it worthwhile. But like I said, even though we're using a lock washer, thread locker is not going to hurt. This feels like prom night because I'm fumbling around in the dark. And this is why I like putting the tranny plate and stuff in before the motor, because the front two bolts, they come up from the bottom. The back two bolts, they come down from the top. But it just makes it a hell of a lot easier to get in there and do what you got to do if you're not having to fight around a motor.
That makes sense. Like doing those motor stabilizers for dynas.
Yeah, those are fun, ain't they?
Oh, I just love it when people come in for those.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, Angel, Red Rider Canada, she can tell you all about those because her and her pops, ugly old troll, they made the stabilizer setup for her dyna. I mean, it turned out pretty kick-ass cool too. There, it finally caught a thread. Well, I thought it caught a thread. Guess what? We got to do a little bit of thread doctoring. I think they roughed them up a little bit whenever they sandblasted before they powder coated the frame here. I mean, they had them plugged up and blocked off. They did a hell of a good job on frame prep, but I think the threads are a little on the rough side. Come out of there. This would be a whole lot easier if some chucklehead had to put thread locker on the damn threads.
Dun, dun, dun.
Hey, heads up, kids. If you ain't got one, spend the money. I'll drop a link down in the description on this video for this rethreading set. There's a big difference between taps and rethreaders, okay? Hang on, I'll show you.
Oh, it's a solid set.
Yeah. Here, let's have a little show and tell session, shall we? 61-piece kit. It's got your SAE coarse and your SAE fine, for internal, external threads. Plus, it's got a very well set up assortment of metric stuff with a couple of your oddballs that you usually don't see in a lot of kits. That, and it's got your, tooth per inch thread files in along with it. And they give you this handy little chart that shows you, hey, dummy, use this one.
Yeah, I'm always scrambling to borrow thread chasers at the shop. But in a pinch, you can always just grind down a bolt that you're not going to use.
Yeah, that's kind of a butch way of doing it, though. See, here's the difference here. Let me get you guys in a little closer, and it may focus, it may not, but what the hell, we're going to give it a try. Now, if you look on the right-hand side, this is a tap, and these cutting edges, they're sharp because they're meant to cut threads. Now, the problem is if you run this down in a hole that's already threaded, it's probably going to loosen it up a little bit, and your bolt's not going to fit in real tight and have good engagement. That's where the rethreader comes in. Because if you look really, really close in that groove, I don't know if that's focusing or not, but, we'll give it the benefit of the doubt. These do not cut threads. What these do is these restore threads by rolling the metal back into the place that it originally came from. So if the threads are distorted a little bit, this is a lot more gentler way of restoring the thread and fixing your boo-boo. Especially on soft metals like aluminum, magnesium. Oh, God, we ain't even going to talk about magnesium here. On soft metals, you definitely want to use a chaser, not a tap. That way you don't end up with the loose and floppies. Yeah, keep it clean, y'all. My mama watches these. Oh, there's a problem right there. We got a powder coat booger in it.
That'll do it.
Yeah, I didn't see it at first. I need a wrench type device. No. Well, it's Amazon, so that's to be expected. The hexes on these, even though this is a 3/8 imperial thread pitch chaser, yeah, the hex is metric. You got to have a 13 millimeter. Okay, I got to back up on my bullshit a little bit here. Let me grab a tap.
That bad, huh?
It's got just enough of a booger blob of powder coat in it right there to where, it's not letting the chaser start in.
You're always going to run into something when it comes to powder coat. This one's probably one of the best I've seen, though.
Okay, you remember that cheap set of 12-point quarter-inch drive sockets I told you that you needed to buy a while back? Well, it's more than just tappet blocks. Check it out. These, tap, socket, and also our little stubby quarter-inch ratchet that I was showing y'all the other day, too. Now, we got something we can use on our tap. I know. I'm going back on everything I just got done preaching at you guys about using a damn chaser. The thing is, there's a big blob of powder coat in that hole, and I got to get that dug out before I can even get the chaser to start in there. So we're going to go ahead and use a tap on it, although we're not going to go batshit crazy with it. And that is why I grabbed the little stubby ratchet, is because look there. That'd be a pain in the nuts getting a tap handle in there. Well, full truth, it may not be that bad, but this is a hell of a lot easier. It's a whole lot quicker. Yeah. See the powder coat boogers I cut out of there? Don't look like a whole hell of a lot, but it was enough to keep that thread chaser from starting in. Oh yeah. There.
Yeah, it comes in handy when your hands are covered in grease and oil.
That, and also you don't have to worry about where did my socket go when you hear that magical little plinko sound of doom whenever something falls from the top and works its way all the way down, but you don't hear it hit the floor. Yeah, that's when shit gets real. Oh yeah, so much better. I'll take it. Threading in transmission plate take 2? Yeah. Now, here's the thing, guys. Even though we're using lock washers, even though we're using thread lock, let me show you something that most of you guys probably don't do, and you need to start doing. Obviously, we got thread locker on our bolt here. Now, you need to put thread locker on the other half too, because the majority of that's going to get wiped away as you thread that bolt in there. So take your thread lock and just put you a little dot at the top of your threads. That way, as the bolt goes in, it's pushing the thread lock down along with it, and that way you've got full length coverage on your thread locker instead of just a thread or two right there at the very top.
Also seen on certain instances from manuals that they have you bottom out the bolt and then back it off 1.5 turns and then torque it up.
Whenever you're using thread lock?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some manufacturers that spec that, and yeah, it's tedious, but they spec that for a reason. It's important and shit.
You know, sometimes you got to give the bike the old reach around.
Right. Well, sometimes you got to do a little bit of stretching the pregame before you start really getting into it. Oh no! My ratchet shows violence this morning when it woke up.
Did you forget to turn it off at night?
I guess. I had to stop and think if I was going the right way because I'm upside down and backwards. There. Now, obviously, we're not torqued all the way down, but we got our lock washer bottomed out. But look, it brought the Loctite back up to the top with it. That way we know we got good coverage all the way through our thread segment. Now, pay attention to these 2 bolts here on the front of the tranny plate. The back ones, it really don't matter if they're a little longer than stock, but make sure you get the right length for the front one, because right now my bolt's just bottomed out. I've not torqued it yet, but it's bottomed out, and you can see we're just below flush. You don't want them poking up through there, because if you ain't paying attention, you might accidentally poke a hole in the transmission case, and nobody likes that.
That sounds like an expensive mistake.
That's one of those expensive crick, oh shit moments.
It's like when you're torquing down head bolts.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, that's a mistake that you will make exactly 1 time. Okay, let us consult the all-knowing Google machine here for our torque spec.
These wheels came out nice.
Yeah, they did. And the light in here doesn't do it justice right now. Under natural daylight, that black cherry that's in there, man, it pops. It really pops and gives it some depth.
I definitely feel like he got a lot of tasteful chrome going on.
Okay, there we go. Tranny plate to frame, 25 pounds. Oh, you beer.
Woo!
Hazard trot, baby. Nothing but the best. Boogie. Tranny time. Yeah, that did clean up real good. That flat black, that high temp flat black with the chrome hardware, that gives it just enough pop there to where it doesn't scream at you, but it looks good just sitting there at the same time. Now, you know what? I just realized something. I'm stupid. I took the tranny plate out with it being attached to the transmission. Yeah. So I got a little bit of a fitment problem here, and now I got to fix it.
You're close.
It's very close. But close only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and thermonuclear warfare.
Well, poop. This sucks.
I thought I was doing good. Well, the problem is this port ear here for the back of the primary, it's hitting the frame ear for the swing arm pivot bolt. And
You can't really rock it in because you got clearance of that.
well, and I don't want to beat up my paint and my powder coat. So what we're going to do here is that ratchet top that we just put in there. Well, guess what, boys? It's coming back out of there. I'm upset about that. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to pull that damn plate back off for the Loctite cures. That'd be simpler. I know it looks goofy as hell, but this is what you got to do sometimes to get down on something. Y'all remember these guys from when we were doing the motor build, right? Yeah. Y'all remember you got to keep them at a 90-degree angle to the head of your torque wrench, or else they'll actually act like a torque multiplier. Hey, look at that right there. No. Story of my life, just a little short. It's bad when you got to work out the acrobatics of all this in your head before you can do it. There, clicky clicky. Now the observant ones in the crowd will notice that our bolts that, or our nuts that bolt the transmission to the tranny plate, now they're still loose. There's a reason for that. Not only do we have to square this around, we got to slide it fore and aft to where we can get our center line with the input shaft and the center line with the crankshaft on the primary when the inner primary goes in. We got to balance all that shit out and make sure it's not in a bind. Let's go ahead and throw the motor in this thing real fast. Just to say that we did, and where we're not having to worry about accidentally maybe knocking it off the side of the lift here.
Yeah, that'd suck.
That would be bad.
I'm going to set this guy up. We're still recording just in case you need an extra arm.
Yeah, we just got to make sure that it don't go, you know, whenever we set the motor in it.
Yeah, sure.
And also, before I set the motor in this thing, I'm going to let the lift down just a little bit.
Does that thing hang low? Does it wobble to the flow? I don't know if that really applies to this situation, but, you know. You're coming from that side?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got to go from this side. No, I can't go in from that side without taking the oil pump cover off. It's got to come in from over here.
Could have just cut this off, you know, and then JB welded it afterwards?
Yeah, yeah. Sure.
No one would have noticed.
Keep telling yourself that. All right, sit down. Yeah. Now I got to move.
Okay.
Now we got to pick up because we're at risk of beating the shit out of the frame with the front of the motor.
Roll into it. I think we got to go back just a skosh.
Well, we can't. There.
There it is. There it is.
A little more upright.
Cool. And we're pretty aligned with these holes, too.
Woohoo! Cool. Nobody died. Well, now, here we are, a week later. This isn't exactly how I planned on closing out this video, but fate had other things in the cards for us all of us. 168 hours, 7 days. That's how long it's been since I've done anything out here in the shop. And for many of you guys that are watching at home right now, you know why. Just to bring you up to speed, if you haven't heard or if you've been living under a rock, last Sunday, on September the 7th, at about 7 p.m., on our way home from work, my partner, my buddy, my ride or die, my amigo, my wife unit, she was on her way home from work, and she was rear-ended on one of the worst parts of 275 coming through Tampa. And let me tell you, that is a phone call that is terrifying for anybody to get. I know it was for me. As
luck would have it, I had just left the house here in Squid Boy's truck because I was going to grab dinner for all of us. So I was about 100 yards out of my driveway, and she called. And I knew that she was on her way home, and I didn't think anything of it when I saw the phone ring and her number pop up. That all changed damn fast as soon as I answered. It's scary. It's a pretty damn helpless feeling. Whenever somebody that you care about, somebody that you've literally built your entire world around, calls you with that kind of fear in their voice. Anyway, long story short, I told my son what was going on, told him I had to borrow his truck for a bit, and I wasn't exactly sure when I was going to be back to the house. I hauled ass over to Tampa, and I got there right as they were loading my wife into the back of an ambulance. And some speech suggestions may have been slightly bent while I was on my way to the hospital because, as luck would have it, I actually beat her ambulance to the emergency room. I know, right? So anyway, after sitting in the trauma unit at ER for a couple of hours and her taking a ride through the magic magnetic tube, we finally figured out just how bad it beat her up. It wasn't good. Now, think back real hard here to health class back in high school, guys. I know it's trying. I had to kind of dig deep into the memory bank myself, but in the back of your neck, you've got ligaments in between the vertebrae. That's what, helps you hold your head up and whatnot. In between the vertebrae of your neck, you've got a disc of cartilage in between each one. Basically, it kind of acts like a shock absorber, if you will, and it lets it, move around whenever you do the whole bobblehead thing. Well, because of how she got hit, she got rear-ended on the right rear corner of her car, and that snapped her head back this way. And that made her car spin into a concrete retaining wall. And as luck would have it, it hit on the right rear corner of the car on the retaining wall. So that made her head snap back again. Well, that little ligament that I was telling you about in the back of your neck, it tore that. The disc in between the vertebrae in her neck, it totally blew that out, and it was putting pressure on her spinal cord itself. That's scary stuff, y'all. That's that's basically the wiring harness that controls you, okay? So the whole time that she was in the trauma center, she told me that it felt like she had fire ants soaked with gasoline crawling all over her from the waist up. It's a pretty helpless feeling whenever you walk up to somebody that you love when they're laying there in a hospital bed, wearing a neck brace, hooked up to a lot of gizmos and gadgets that you don't really understand, but you've watched enough reruns of ER to kind of get an idea of what they all mean. And you take two fingers and you put them on their shoulder, and they cry out in pain. Yeah, y'all can kind of get a decent handle on my mental state at that point. I was scared. I was mad. I was kind of lost, looking for ideas on what do we do? Where do we go from here? Is she going to be okay? How is this going to play out? The next afternoon, they took her into surgery. They had to do an emergency fusion on C6 and C7 vertebrae here at the base of her neck. So what they had to do, she's got an incision here right up above her collarbone. They had to go in, all the stuff in the way, like your windpipe, your voice box, your esophagus, they had to kind of nudge all that over to the side just a little bit. That way they could put 4 screws, a titanium plate, and a chunk of cadaver bone from some dead guy that we're going to call Bob here, because they had to completely remove that disc in between her neck, and they had to do a cervical fusion on the 2 vertebrae in her neck. Now, she's still got some lingering effects from all this. She's got some nerve pain in her hand still, and she's got a lot of vertigo and a lot of disorientation. And here we are a week later, she's still using a walker to get around. Not to mention the fact that she sounds kind of like Marge Simpson after smoking 3 packs of Pall Mall non-filters. And I laugh at that because she's right here off camera with me right now, and I just got told I was number 1. And you know what? I'll take it because I come by it honest. She means the world to me. She puts up with a lot of my shit. I put up with a lot of her shit. We're, I guess you could call it a symbiotic relationship. But at the end of the day, I love her. And it scared the holy shit right out of me whenever I saw her in that state. Now she's going to get better. Things are going to improve. She's one bad bitch. She ain't going to take this shit lying down. She's making gains day by day. It's going to be a long road for her. We'll get there together. You guys may not see me as active as what I typically am here on the tubes or over on Patreon or on the Discord, and for that, I'd like to apologize in advance. On the flip side of that, everybody that's over on the JTMJ Discord, everybody here on YouTube, everybody that's got my personal phone number, our friends, our family, everybody that's reached out to us, thank you. You have no idea how much that means to me. You have no idea how much that means to her. It's kind of humbling to know that many people, especially you guys out here in YouTube Landia, you know, we've never met face to face. I've never had a chance to shake your hand, look you in the eye, and say, hey, I'm Joe. But it's pretty humbling to know that there's that many people out there that care about us. There's that many people out there that are wishing her well. I got to get my button gear, and I got to finish wiring up the hand controls for Angel's bike because he's still on the mend. And what can I say? Mad props to him. The dude sacked up and said, hey, we got to get back to doing shit. He's back at work. And I got to say, Angel, Drew, Brian, Melissa, everybody at the Ride Factory, thank y'all for having my back and covering my ass for this last week while I had to be out. Because, yeah, sorry, gang. I had to take care of my partner. Now, I'm not one to toot my own horn here, and I kind of feel bad about this, but I was threatened with pain of death and unemployment if I didn't put this in this video, so here we go. Down here at the bottom of this video, down in the description, you'll find a GoFundMe link. And I got my arm twisted to put this in there. I want y'all to know that because I don't feel right about asking for things for me. But I do feel good about asking for things for her because she's worth it to me. So here I am, y'all. This is me swallowing a little bit of pride and saying, hey, check out the GoFundMe link down here at the bottom of the page. That's something that Chelsea, Angel, you know, our friends at the Ride Factory and good personal friends of ours, you guys cowboyed up and y'all helped them out a great deal here a few weeks ago whenever they were picking up the pieces from the wreck that they had. And I guess the universe decided that it was my turn, and they pointed that finger right squarely at me and the wife unit. But that's okay. We're going to move on. We're going to move forward. We're going to take things one day at a time. And we'll come out of the backside of this. We'll come out of this okay. Sure wasn't figuring on having to replace a car right here and now, but you know what? Hey, you got to play the hand that life dealt you. So here we go. I'll be giving you guys regular updates on her progress and the gains that she's making here in the coming weeks and the coming months here on YouTube, also over on Patreon and Discord. You guys on Discord, you know the story. You know how this is played out, okay? And again, for me being a bit absent here this past week, I apologize, but I appreciate you understanding it on the same page. Thank y'all. Anyway, I got to get Angel's bike fixed up, get it back together. That way he's got a way around because his truck decided it was going to throw a little bit of a temper tantrum. And you know what? I know I've said before that Angel's a lot like me. Well, he's kind of hard-headed like me too because, you know, here we are 3.5 weeks out, and he's got the itch to get back on his bike. Some of it brought on by necessity, some of it just by, hey, it's that time. I ain't going to tell him no, because I did the same damn thing. And you know what? If I did everything that everybody told me I should have done when I should have done it, I'd probably be living in a whole different world now. I just want to say thank you to everybody. Let you know that we're here. We're working our way towards getting whole. And we'll catch you on the flip side.
Force will be with you always.